Our number 90 is quite the odd fellow, a character that was instrumental in making television animation what it is today, all to establish a studio that needed a cartoon star to strive and stand amongst its competitors at the time. A cartoon character that was far removed from what anyone would have expected one to be. This character is none other than Mr. Magoo, an old, nearsighted man who could see far beyond what he would eventually become. Mr. Magoo started out just as any of his other cartoon counterparts did, as a theatrical cartoon character. But what differentiates him from his peers was that he came about when John Hubley, an animator who worked for Disney, got fed up with the studio for treating him and his fellow animators unfairly by withholding the pay they rightfully deserved. This, of course, brought about the infamous Disney animator strike of 1941. This was a time when many would leave Disney to go elsewhere. John was among them. He decided that he could do his own operation and got a few of the former Disney animators together and established industrial film and postal service. They went about doing many projects, including a short for President Roosevelt's re-election campaign. But it would be in 1948 that the studio went a different direction and was contracted by Columbia Pictures to create cartoons for them. They would become United Productions of America, but better known as UPA. John Hubley and Millard Kaufman devised a character for the studio's output that would change their fortunes. They would give their best effort with 1949's Ragtime Bear, which introduced audiences to Quincy Magoo, a nearsighted old man who gets into several mishaps because he couldn't differentiate who's who. The man mistakenly identifies his own nephew with a bear, for goodness sake. That's proof enough. And you know what else was proven with his first appearance? His new place as a cartoon star. The short was a huge success, and this gave Columbia Pictures the confidence to keep him as their star. Mind you, this was quite unheard of in the early days of theatrical animation, when studios tended to bank on anthropomorphic animals to carry them. But Mr. Quincy Magoo was more than anyone could have ever imagined. He was quite unique, and this was due in part of his voice actor, Jim Backus, a man best known for his stint as Thurston Howell on the classic 1960s sitcom Gilligan's Island. He didn't only embody the character visually, but the character defined his career in show business as well. In short, he was Mr. Magoo, except for the nearsightedness, of course. Mr. Magoo continued to find success with more shorts under his belt, including 1954's When Magoo Flew and 1956's Magoo's Puddle Jumper, which both won an Academy Award. He also achieved a feat many of his cartoon counterparts hadn't done up to that point, transitioning into feature film. He did just that with 1959's 1001 Arabian Nights, which had him playing the role of a Baghdad lamp dealer. Unfortunately, not only wasn't the film a success, but it would be his last outing in theaters entirely. But this would work in UPA's favor, because they did what was needed to be done: make Mr. Magoo transition into a television cartoon star. Starting with 1960's Mr. Magoo. These were all new shorts created by UPA solely. The series lasted from 1960 to 1962. UPA decided to make another series in 1964 with the famous adventures of Mr. Magoo. This time, Mr. Magoo role-played various classic literary characters such as Dr. Frankenstein, Long John Silver, and Don Quixote. Unfortunately, this would only last for one season, but he wasn't ready to stop seeing ahead to the future. His new place would be on CBS's Saturday morning lineup in 1977 with What's New, Mr. Magoo, a collaborative effort with the Patty Freeling Enterprises. Unfortunately, it only lasted for 15 episodes in total. It may have seemed that this was it for Mr. Magoo, but this wouldn't be the case, as he made another feature film appearance in live action, courtesy of Disney Studios. Yes, the same studio that was responsible for the creators of the character to leave them years prior. And it starred Leslie Nielsen as the titular character, for goodness sake. Gotta love Leslie Nielsen. And if that wasn't enough, he would make another animated comeback in 2010 with our nearsighted old coot in a most unusual role as a martial artist in an animated feature, no less, Kung Fu Magoo. Also in 2019, courtesy of French animation studio Zealand. Yes, this one was quite an odd take on the classic character indeed. In all, Mr. Magoo is a character who helped shape a studio that needed a star, and in turn created a character that exuded a kind of charm unseen in many of his cartoon counterparts. He was always on the winning side of any situation that he ended up in, despite his flaws getting in the way. That alone made his character unique. He also helped to reinvent limited animation on a grander scale. He was the true torchbearer to what Ward and Anderson had started with Crusader Rabbit. Mr. Magoo never tried to be more than he was. He might have changed from being a miser to a happy-go-lucky old man throughout his tenure as a cartoon character, but one thing remained the same, and that was never letting his inability to see hinder his progress in any way. Things always worked out in the end for him. He is what we like to be. Not being nearsighted, of course, but seeing a situation work out in our favor, no matter what happens to us. Ultimately, this made the character special because it always provided the viewer something to laugh at. A character that was beloved by those who seen it and even by Jim Backus himself, including UPA themselves, since they refused to make another Mr. Magoo cartoon without Jim when he died in 1989. Today, his relevancy takes on a different meaning. You can now see him as a part of MeTV Toon's cartoon lineup. And you know what? That's for the better, because having Mr. Magoo never being seen by future generations of cartoon lovers is a crime in itself. With that said, thanks a lot, Quincy, for your contribution in the history of animation itself. One thing, make sure you watch Step. No, I'm not your nephew, Waldo.
I'll blast you!